Welcome back to another episode of In the Driver's Seat, and this time in the driver's seat is the one and only Manu Varma, the subject matter expert for people and culture at Traction on Demand. Now, Manu, you got to start with, what the heck does that title really mean?
Right? We've never been one for titles at Traction, but really what it meant is I've kind of run the people and culture function internally for the past 5+ years at Traction, and kind of taking that experience and also the technology that we built internally, taking that externally. So we basically built what I would call an employee relationship management platform on the Salesforce platform, leveraging other ISVs, and taking that to market. So not only the what, but also the how and the why behind it.
It's super interesting. You know, one of the verbiages that I globbed onto when looking at what you're talking about here is this notion of from hire to retire. And the thing that struck me about that was, geez, all the way to retire. Like we don't often think about people staying at organizations for long periods of time anymore. It seems like, those days are gone and everybody is in a mode of like a few years here, getting diverse experiences. And yet, I think in really successful organizations that build an amazing culture where your people are your greatest asset, retention of great talent is so important.
Hugely.
So what have you found over the last 5-6 years of doing this as, being those key elements and foundations to building engagement and having people be a part of the organization?
Sure. I'll kind of take that twofold. So first off, I think there's this shift that managers have to make and move from this tenure and role to longevity at company. So oftentimes we see that managers are like, you're too good. I don't want to freaking lose you. But I'm going to hold on to you, and then you get so dissatisfied you leave.
Sure.
As opposed to, you're so good at what you do, let's build a role around you, right? And enable you. If there's a muscle you still enjoy flexing, give you that opportunity to flex that muscle. If there's something you want to build, give that opportunity too. And so one of the things that we've done is really this whole kind of incubation of product-based companies that have been the idea of brainchildren of our existing employees, and being able to spin that out. And not that I say that every company has to spin out of their SaaS-based companies, but it's just another way of, hey, I recognize you. I want to make sure that you're feeling important. You feel happy at work, so we're going to collect that data, however you do it, app or otherwise, and then build those roles around you.
It's interesting because there is, I'm curious if you have a framework for this, for thinking about, there's identifying the talent within your organization that you want to foster and grow, because you don't necessarily want everybody that you hire to be there till they retire. So you want to identify those who are strong alignment with culture, strong contributors, and then there's a process of engaging those individuals, empowering them, recognizing, and then beyond. And so do you have a framework that you think about that life cycle of the employees and how you handle at each stage?
Absolutely, but I think we pull it back to recruiting. So kind of how our philosophy of recruiting is 3 stages, right? In priority, values aligned culture ads, aptitude, and relevant skills are different. Different third. So hoping that we do actually keep these employees from that hire to retire, but help them metamorphosize, across their life cycle. So they will, in essence, be having several bursts, several kind of running pieces, several I'm crawling again. And so it's always kind of maybe restarting the engine on a regular basis. Not to run a car, it's so ironic. Talking about engine. But I think that philosophically, that's kind of how we've always envisioned it. And that's why it's always been like, hey, I want to hire people that are smart, that can learn a multiplicity of things up front, as opposed to someone who's got skill set of the day or skill du jour. They're probably not gonna last, right? They will, either the company will outgrow them in short order. So try to really avoid that whole piece of it. But then there's also the case of people that come in and maybe right out of school, they land at a company like Traction or Vidyard and think, wow, this is the bomb. Every company's like this, and they want to go and test the water, and sometimes you have to be okay with that. So then maintaining that kind of what I would call a talent marketplace of that alumni, and really be able to welcome them back. Because I've been up there, I've worked at the Big Four, and it sucks. But I learned a lot. Who am I to say that they shouldn't go and do that? All right. So being able to welcome them back in, so leveraging that internal and external talent marketplace alumnus to be able to bring them back in, so they can be reborn again.
In working with external organizations now and working with a lot of your different clients, what are the most common issues, challenges, problems that you find that they're facing, that they're trying to solve right now, or just don't have it, or maybe there are problems they don't know that they have that you're starting to unearth?
Sure. I think the problem, especially on the people and culture side, most HR folks are scared of technology.
Right.
They're still thinking point to point, app to app. They're still in that mindset as opposed to having a platform.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we hear about AI and we think we want to do it. I'm like, well, AI isn't this thing that you buy, right?
No.
You have to have one source of data truth. I think that's the biggest problem. And those different platforms, different apps for recruiting, rewards and recognition, succession planning, development, training. How are you possibly getting any insights, right? And I think they've done themselves a disservice.
Yeah.
Why is HR and people and culture, whatever you want to call it, why are they not using a regular business platform?
Right.
Right. Pretty much every company that's selling anything is using some kind of a CRM.
Yeah.
What do you not want to have your customer CSAT attached to each individual? Do you not want to have that history of how that person came in from a recruiting perspective down to that whole life cycle, how to retire, so you can make informed database decisions, but still leveraging the humanity and not just using data as an extract, if you will.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest challenge. And we keep talking about, hey, people are our biggest asset, but they refuse to invest in the system side.
Right.
And HR simply refuses to push the envelope, and they're okay with workarounds. And I've been guilty in my role in past companies. I'll do the workaround and it won't make enough noise. And this is important. If we're going to say people are important, your system should reflect your culture and not be a net opposite.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there is and I've seen the shift in the market as well, from technology to simply, manage employees and to make sure they're on payroll and so on, to now really, employee engagement and enablement technologies that do really focus on that of how do we make sure that people are actively engaged? How do we make sure we are understanding performance from an outcomes basis as opposed to just activity-centric metrics? And then how do we, reward and motivate those individuals?
That's important to them, right? And tracking that stuff.
Yeah.
If I want to be rewarded with a thank you note or a gift or a time, be able to track that and leverage that data and give them gifts that are meaningful, right? Which is super important.
Yeah. So one thing I want to ask you is, when, in practice, when the rubber hits the road on, you've got, great talent, great person in your organization, you want them to grow with the business. I know, and you talked about this earlier, but, as a leader myself, it is so hard to think about moving them into a different role or opportunity, right? Which is a great growth opportunity for them. But it is frightening as a leader to think about them not being in the role they're in today, right?
I've groomed you.
It's going to be a massive gap there, right? I can't lose you from this, but that ultimately, again, the risk is you're going to lose them entirely.
Yes.
So how do you really, what have you learned in how you manage that process as an organization and as an individual, and where do people fall off on that?
Yeah, I think communication is key. It's basic, but just kind of tell them, hey, I know here's where I see you. This is obviously really the big whole place, and get them into the picture as well, and help you fill that voice, right? And have a plan, and don't say no, but don't have this like, well, it's going to take 14 to 18 months because you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
But have a leverage plan so they're part of the solution and don't become part of the problem, right? So they're bringing them into the fold. That's where I've really seen a lot of success when it comes to that, as opposed to sitting there hemming and hawing and then either treating them really poorly, never talking to them again, or just kind of holding on as long as you can, and then they eventually leave, and then the hole is even greater.
Yes.
And then when one person leaves, and there's that function of like that, what I call like the follow, the follow quit.
Yep.
Bob quit, so now I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
Right. So the ramifications are doubly bad, I think.
Yeah. So the last question I have for you on that note of, losing one people could mean you lose more, and that's a huge hit to the organization. How do you sort of operationalize, tracking and understanding, employee engagement, employee commitment? How do you functionally, implement solutions to try to identify people that are at risk, so that you can make sure you address them and progress them as you need to?
Totally. So we Greg talked about this today, is leveraging traction pulse, and basically what it is it's really about building roles around people and getting a sense for what they enjoy doing. So it's, and we change that to the task it could be. So for our consulting team, it's like, am I doing admin? Am I syndicating myself? Am I learning, or am I in full execution mode? For an HR, it could be like, I'm doing recruiting, organizational development, facilitation, performance consulting.
Yeah.
But then attaching a sentiment to each one of those things.
Right.
So is it amazing? Is it mildly painful? Is it brutal? Is it pretty good?
Interesting.
So we look at that data daily as an aggregate. So then also the employee gets a sense of like, oh, wow, it looks like I really do enjoy syndicating. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy mentoring.
Right.
Or hey, I enjoy being a business analyst on projects of over $250,000.
Right.
But not so much on a project under 100. So it kind of helps that being proactive and say, hey, now we're going to channel work to you that's most meaningful to you. Unless you tell me, say, Manu, yeah, I enjoy it, but I don't want too much of it.
Yeah.
So, or times of the day or times of the year that maybe I've got some discretionary impacts on my time that I don't want to work on a project that's $250,000 a year. Yeah. Maybe I don't want to work on back-to-back hard assignments. Give me a break in my assignments so I can something meaty and juicy, something a little less. Right. So that way we can look at those factors, have the conversations early, but we also have the data to back it up.
Super interesting, that idea of adding sentiment and attaching that to tasks and programs and activities. Such that you can get a sense for what am I working on that feels meaningful to me versus not, and as an employer being able to address that. What a novel idea, Manu. I love it.
Thanks.
I love it.
We think it's a game changer.
So this is all about not putting you in the driver's seat, but putting your employees in the driver's seat and enabling them to drive the car off as fast and furious as they can.
They're on the bus, but in the car?
Something like that. They are the fuel. Okay, we will end with the in the driver's seat metaphors and analogies. And thank you very much, Manu, for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
Insights. And thank you for joining me in the driver's seat.
Thank you.